Right, with you very shortly. I'm supposed to not do that. Stop. I always thought I was being very clever. Getting it before. Oops. Don't pull it. Okay. I nearly pulled the camera down. I'm all right. Okay. Now, meditation's coming. Assuming I don't destroy the place. Just let me make sure everything is fine. I'm just gonna, if you're on Facebook, I just got to turn you off and turn you on again. Just bear with me. I'll be back in a second. Meditation's coming. Okay. So we've got 2 out of 3. Just turn Facebook back on again. Let me see if we've got Facebook all set up. Meditation's coming. Okay, I think we're nearly there. Right, how are you? How's it going? How's the day going? Going well? I hope it is. It's fine if it's not. Not every day goes well, but I hope you're having a good day. We're going to do a bit of meditation now. This isn't a class, it's just a chance to meditate together. So if you're an experienced meditator, if you're used to it, if you have a nice, lovely meditation practice, brilliant. Can you hang on for a minute though while I explain what I do, just for the benefit of people who are new to meditation? There's lots of different styles of meditation. This is what I do. For me, it starts with why I would meditate. I'm trying to connect to a part of me that I connect to every night when I go to sleep. Not the dreaming bit, the bit after dreaming. So I'm dreaming and then I drop out the bottom of dreaming into deep dreamless sleep where I have no thoughts, no memories, no feelings, no emotions, no personality, no body really, no bed, no house. I don't even have me. I sort of disappear. I cease to exist, certainly in the way that I normally register that I exist, which, when I add it all up, that sounds awful, doesn't it? That sounds like death. Yet, I love going to sleep. And when I wake up in the morning, I feel refreshed. So some part of me knows that that is a good place that I go to. And that's where I want to go to when I meditate. I just want to do it consciously. So straight away, if you're new to meditation, don't try to do this lying down because you'll fall asleep. And if you don't fall asleep, you'll battle sleep, both of which are counter to, what we're doing. So as I say, I've no thoughts in this place, so it's like somewhere my mind can't get to, but yet I still want to get there for my meditation. So I have to figure out a way of working with my mind, or I like to think of it as sort of parting the curtains of my mind so I can get into this place. So what I do is I just make an arrangement with my mind where I say, can you just not think for the next 15 minutes? And my mind is pretty on board with the whole thing. I've been meditating for years, so it's like, yeah, okay, let's do that. And if you're new to meditation, your mind will be on board with it too, because it's a new thing, and minds like new things. That particular step only really comes in when you're trying to build a meditation practice, or get into a meditation practice. Because after a while, your mind will get bored with it, and then you need to figure out how to get over that. So I'm not going to go into that now. If you want to know, I can talk about it later, ask me a question. But for now, my mind is on board. Great. Next thing, stop thinking. That's actually easier than it sounds. It's easy to stop, because regardless of what I'm thinking about, which would be like the content of my thoughts, the structure of my thoughts is always the same. It's always pictures and sound. So if I turn off the pictures and I turn off the sound, that's it. I'm not thinking. And as soon as I do that, I'm into the practice of meditation. Now, the practice of meditation runs parallel with the intention of my meditation. So the intention of my meditation is, as I already said, to go to this deep, mysterious, calm, peaceful, Zen-like, I'm trying to think of all the other words that are used to describe meditation, that place. The practice of meditation runs parallel with it and starts as soon as I stop thinking, and it pretty much goes, I turn off the pictures, I turn off the sound, so I bring myself to not thinking. Then some time will pass and I'll discover I'm thinking again. I go, oh, I'm thinking again. I turn off the pictures, turn off the sound, bring myself back to not thinking. Then some more time will pass and I'll discover I'm thinking again. I'll go, oh, I'm thinking again, fine. Turn off the pictures, turn off the sound, bring myself back to not thinking. Then some more time will pass, I'll discover I'm thinking again. I go, oh, I'm thinking again, and so on. So the practice of meditation is simple. Every time you discover that you're thinking, you bring yourself back to not thinking. That's it. And it's important to know that thinking can happen during meditation, because it's easy to get the misconception that to meditate correctly, you shouldn't be thinking at all, which isn't the case. These two things, the practice of meditation and the intention, they go together and they sort of do a little dance together. Sometimes you'll be very deep and still and calm and it's beautiful, and then other times you'll be discovering that you're thinking. And both are powerful. Both are as powerful as the other. The power is obvious when you're in that deep, still, profound place, because you can feel it in your body. Your nervous system starts to change and settle down. You can feel things happening in your body, and you can feel a sort of soul. This is very powerful. When you discover that you're thinking, it's very powerful as well, but maybe not so obvious that it's powerful. Because what will happen is, if you're like me, the sort of things that you think about are all to do with you. So I'll be thinking, what am I going to do about that thing? Why did I say that to that person? Why did that person say that thing to me? And so on. So if I'm in the middle of meditation and I discover that I'm thinking and I'm having one of those thoughts, and I go, oh, I'm thinking, turn off the pictures, turn off the sound, bring myself back to not thinking. Indirectly, what I'm saying to myself is, you know that thought that you just had, the one that you thought was you and you were it? Well, you just made it disappear. So you're not that thought. In fact, you're not any of your thoughts. You're something else. That's very powerful. And the fact that you do that repeatedly, that's very powerful as well. So the main thing is not to add to your thinking by starting to think about you're not very good at meditation, you're thinking too much, you shouldn't be thinking at all, any of that kind of stuff, okay? There's no right amount of times that you should be bringing yourself back from thinking, because it changes day to day and hour to hour. You know, you could meditate in the morning and you might have to bring yourself back from thinking quite a few times. And then you might meditate in the afternoon and you might have to bring yourself back from thinking hardly at all. And neither is more correct or better or deeper or any of that sort of stuff. Neither is better than the other. The main overriding thing with the thinking side of meditation is every time you discover that you're thinking, bring yourself back to not thinking and you'll be doing great. Now, while all that's going on, I'm also becoming a little bit more conscious of my body, and particularly tension in my body. So I'm scanning my body from my head down to my feet and back up again, very slowly, very gently. And anywhere I find tension, I let it go and I use my out breath to let it go. And I use my out breath because it's natural to just breathe it away. It sort of feels good to, like, yes, I'm really doing something here. But it's also a good way of bringing my attention to my breathing, because it's easy to hold your breath during meditation or to stop breathing altogether. So using the out breath is a good way of becoming a bit more conscious of my breathing, so that I can, deep. Maybe it's a little bit deeper. Certainly, I'm not holding it, and I'm not stopping breathing. Having a nice quiet room is really helpful as well when you're meditating, because one of the things that triggers thoughts is noise. So, and when you close your eyes, your hearing amplifies. So the quieter the room when you're beginning, the more helpful it is to your mind. You have less things to think about. And when I'm scanning my body up and down, I'm paying particular attention to any structures that are going across my body. This is when I'm looking for tension in my body. Because any structures that go across or transverse in my body, they operate a little bit like a log going across a stream. It picks up the leaves and the twigs and the branches and anything else that's coming down the stream, except in my body, that's tension. So I'm paying a little bit more attention, spending a bit more time on my eyes. They're a transverse sight. My jaw, my tongue, the base of my neck, my shoulder girdle, all my joints, my shoulders, elbows, wrists, fingers, my heart area, my respiratory diaphragm, all my intestines, my pelvic floor, my hips, my knees, my ankles, and my toes. The other thing I do to help my mind have less things to think about is I set a timer for how long I'm going to meditate for. So I'm going to set my timer for 15 minutes, but if you're new to meditation, I'd encourage you to set yours for shorter. Set it for 5 minutes and then repeat that 3 times, because 15 minutes is a long time if you're not used to it. Now let me have a quick check for questions or anything like that. No, okay, good. All right, off we go then into the mystery. Now, if you feel like you've gone very deep inside, take a few minutes to come back from there before you open your eyes. Or if you feel like you can hold the inner space and the outer space, then just open your eyes. And if when you do that you feel like you've lost the inner space, then you can just close your eyes again, reconnect with it. Oh yeah, there it is. Open your eyes again. And if you lose it again, you just close your eyes again. So you can use your eyes like a valve, to equalize the inner space and the outer space. So as I said, these daily meditations are part of the Further Emergence work that I do. Further Emergence is to do with growth, really, inner growth. Growth in consciousness, you could call it spiritual growth, growth in awareness, that kind of growth. Because your body pretty much stops growing when you're an adult, but you keep growing on the inside. That doesn't stop. You only have to think back to who you were 10 years ago to see that you've grown. And just like when you were a kid and your body was growing, you might have gone through periods of accelerated growth, they're called growth spurts. That goes on the inside as well. You can have periods of accelerated growth on the inside. And that's what the focus of Further Emergence is on those inner growth spurts. Because when you were a kid and you had a growth spurt and you went to your parents and said, I've got growing pains, your parents didn't rush you to hospital or bring you to the doctor or anything like that. They would have just said, they're growing pains, they'll pass. But on the inside, there's a much bigger space to feel like it's not natural when you're going through an inner growth spurt. There's a big space to feel like it's not natural, there's something wrong, and to get distressed about what should I do and all that kind of thing, because it can be very disorienting. You can feel quite lonely because you can kind of go from one day everything's great, and then the next day it's like you don't really feel like you fit in your life anymore. You don't really recognize yourself. You don't get anybody anymore. Nobody seems to get you. Nobody seems to understand what's happening. It can be hard. So these meditations are part of what I do because they help you become familiar with your inner space. And the more familiar you are with your inner space, the easier it is to navigate these inner growth spurts. There's a Zoom group every week on Fridays, 8 o'clock Irish time. And that's a chance to meditate a bit more deeply, to have questions and answers, and also to see, okay, there's other people going through something very similar to me. I'm not on my own with this. And I'm not going nutty because what these people are talking about is the same, because I've been through it myself many times and I've helped a lot of people through it too. So the Zoom groups are great for that. And if you're curious about the Zoom groups, you can go back on the feed, whatever platform you happen to be looking at this on. If you go back through the feed, you'll see the video for a Zoom group, and you can have a look and see what they're like. And then the audio for the Zoom group got to make up the podcast, so that's another thing you could do, listen to the podcast. I also work with people one-to-one. I do that twice a week. That's a combination of, it's kind of like in front of the scenes and behind the scenes work. The in front of the scenes part is where we talk, and there's questions and reflection. You kind of talk through it, where the person's going and how they're going through the process. And then there's a period where we'll stop and they'll lie down, and I'll work on their system energetically to sort of help their system harmonize the process that they're going through. And then what else? I've got a couple of books. I've written 4 books, all roughly about Further Emergence, all around that subject. So they're just another resource as well. So if you've listened all the way, you're still with me, maybe something's resonating with you, maybe something's ringing a bell for you about what I'm talking about. And if that's happening, then that part of you that's resonating, that'll inform you what to do, whether it's just keep going to the meditations, come to a Zoom group, watch a Zoom group video, listen to the podcast, get in touch for some one-to-one work, or read a book, or none. None of the above. You'll know what to do. So thanks. The website is furtheremergence.com. You're very welcome to come to the Zoom group. You'll find the link there. Everyone's welcome. You'll find a link to the Zoom group there. So thanks very much for meditating with me, and see you tomorrow for some more meditation. Bye.